Hello and welcome to our new show, Secret Sauce, where we have questions posed by you guys and ourselves to people within the industry to have a deeper look at what goes on within within the esports industry. In this season, we're tackling coaching, and we have two experienced coaches with us, Vetrezz and Mr.G. We have myself, Jamil, and Omar as well on the show. And without further ado, let's start.
Okay, so as coaches, what are the biggest factors in play when it comes to adaptability and consistency? Be it in game or maybe outside of the game, especially when we have games like esports, when you have like maybe new characters, patches, balances, what used to work before doesn't necessarily work 2 weeks later. So how can you establish a culture of adaptability in one team?
Shall I take that one first, Vetrezz?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. I would switch them around and say consistency then adaptability. Now, how do you, because you can train consistency. You have measures. You have milestones, you have things, you have a routine, you have habits, and you get them going in consistency. But there's a saying that I know Vetrezz has heard me use before, which I took from somewhere else, which is you train for the expected and you educate yourself for the unexpected. Yeah. Which means that when you're very often in a lot of sports, they get very good at what it is that they do. But then you will notice that their coaches and their trainers will get them doing activities from outside of their area because you're always throwing something new at them. So, for example, okay, imagine that you required your eyesight to be extremely accurate, okay? Try covering an eye and see what happens to you, all right? Imagine, for the sake of it, you're in a competition and for some silly reason, a bug gets in behind the glasses, is in my eye, and my eye is blurry. Yeah, and I know we can call a timeout, we can try and sort it out and all those sorts of things. But it could be that my play becomes less and the team has to adapt. So what you're always doing is you're not only providing conditions by which they can perfect what they can already do, but then you can start throwing them curveballs. You can get them to experience the need to adapt by just creating a set of activities that don't allow them. I'll give you another one. Esports people are used to, they might play at a different time. We know that sometimes they've got to compete in different time zones.
Yep.
Okay, not everybody handles time change as easily. You can give a team the experience of jet lag. I kid you not, very simple. Just start waking them up with 3 or 4 hours less sleep and do that for 3 days and get them to push themselves because then they experience it. They experience what jet lag is like.
It's
and
3 a.m. It's time to game.
And it's not even, it's all of that, but it's simply getting the team used to going, oh, conditions are different, but I still have to perform. Yeah. So what you want to do is get them used to it. It's almost getting them to be more consistent at handling adaptability.
Yeah,
in that way.
Yeah.
You see, no, I totally agree with that, honestly. It's something that also I have in mind for myself. Like for something as maybe trivial as like working out, for example, and you're not feeling it, but when it's on the days that you're not feeling it that you remind yourself that I got through a bad day while doing this. so that on my good days I can also do it and be consistent about it. And so the next day when you're not feeling it, you remind yourself that, oh, I had a bad day and I was able to go through it, so now I can go through it again. And that also, I think, expands your comfort zone. So in that you just shrug it off, and it doesn't seem like this wall of I can't go through this. It feels more like oh, okay, it's fine. Like we've been here before. It's gonna be a little bit annoying, but we can do this.
Yeah, so I think for me, I had a little different approach about that. I mean, I get the points that Mr. G said, of course, but from my perspective, I think the biggest factor of a team that wants to be consistent and wants to actually win something on the long term, they have to keep up their work and they have to stop being lazy. Like, once you are the best, you have to continuously improve to stay the best, and that's what a lot of players don't really do from my experience. They basically reach a top point, or like they get up in the stats to the best players that a country or even a whole region has, and then that's where they stop their grind and they just get like used to that, and they become so lazy because they think they already proved themselves that they are the best, so they don't need to improve anymore. And that is the biggest point which made a lot of players that I worked with also for a longer time, they became, let's say, average players after being one of the top tier players. They were one of the best, and then they just settled with the fact that they already reached that, so they just don't train, or like they don't have they don't really want to improve anymore, and they feel like they don't need to because they get an ego, or like they become arrogant and they don't accept that there's also other people that can overpeak them with their own grind. So for me, the biggest factor in a team about that is that the whole team is sharing the same goal and they all want to improve at the whole time. So if you have players that all share the same mindset in that regard, you will have a team that is continuously improving, and also when they win something, they won't like just stop and settle with the fact that they won something, but they want to win everything in the end. So this is actually one of the hardest thing in team building, is finding players that share the same mindset and the same vision of their own careers.
Yeah, that is very important. But can we actually teach adaptability? Like, we're talking about adaptability like something you get through experience, but like we have a new player, he's new to the team, and we need them to be adaptable. We need them to be able to react properly to changes in game, maybe changes in the meta. In your experience, Vetrezz, is this something we can teach?
It's hard. Like, there's some players, or like some, let's say, individuals that are willing to learn new stuff and that are really open. Like, once you tell them, they are down to follow your guidance. But there's also players that will never be able to achieve that. So I think the scouting process is the best thing to prevent players that actually don't have the same mindset or vision from the game to join your team, because once you have them on the team and they perform good, you have a problem, because this is actually the thing when the higher ups in a team don't want to remove star players because they just see that they achieved something once. So to actually learn those skills, it's like individually different. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's not teachable, but you need the right characters to teach them. So it's kind of a mixed answer in that regard. There's people that will 100% not be able to adapt, and there's also people that can't adapt at first but are able to learn to adapt. So the more willing they learn to also accept their own mistakes, the more they can adapt in the end, and the better they will become.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think essentially I like the word you used as well there in the sense that of mindset, because that's what we're talking about often. If you take what Vetrezz just said and you begin with your recruitment, your scouting phase, and you're looking for a certain basis or quality of person where you want them to be able to accept growth but still have confidence in their own ability, because, you know, sometimes they feel the pressure of growing means I'm not good enough, but it's not about that at all. So if you're looking for that base mindset, growth, and from that point onwards, you start developing elements for their consistency. And then, as I said, you throw in on top of that training that keeps them always up against their comfort zone. Then it's what you said, Jamil, then it's kind of like up against your zone, so you're always pushing out. And then you discuss this all the time, or everything that Vetrezz said or any of you said. This becomes the conversation at the end of any training day. You know, What did we learn today? How far did we go? What really tested us? And you make them think about what they're doing. And I think that thinking also adds to their ability to adapt. You're growing their experience, Omar. If you wanted to, you said, you know, it needs experience.
Yeah.
But I think you can grow, you can intensify that process, if you will.
So no shortcuts, but you can like just give them a lot of experience in
no
very short time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes. I mean, you look at any tier, you look at any organization or team that is competing or playing at the very top level. Look at what their very day looks like. Look at what a week looks like.
Oh yeah.
And you see the intensity of the work being done. Yeah. So you can't give them years per se, but you can pack in a lot of intensity into the time that they train and practice and play.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, Vetrezz, I heard this sometimes from you, that when you compare players from different regions and the intensity with which they grind or play or learn or talk or whatever. So I think, yep, you can do that.